aka Bake Me Pretty. And some of you might know me from hanging out with Martha Stewart on Bakeaway Camp. But on this show, we're making store-bought guilty pleasures from scratch. So one of my favorite movies recently that I cannot stop watching or listening to the soundtrack is Coco. I got a request from one of our fans to do sugar skulls, and I'm so excited to decorate these guys. So here's what you'll need. 2.5 cups of sugar, 2 small egg whites, 1 teaspoon of light corn syrup, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And you're gonna need some cornstarch to powder your surface. So we're gonna mix the wet ingredients together. And then we're gonna add it into the sugar. So what you're looking for is a sand-like texture. You wanna make sure that all the wet ingredients, that egg, that corn syrup, really gets mixed together with the sugar. So as I'm mixing it, I'm gonna pat it down with my spatula. Now I'm gonna go get my molds. So I have my baking sheet ready. I have one that doesn't have sides, and you're gonna see why that's important. You can also use just cardboard, that works too. So I have 2 kinds of molds. I have this really nice big one that I think is gonna be really cool to use because it's a nice size and I'm gonna really be able to decorate the skulls with. And then I have these cute little guys. So for now, I'm gonna put the mold to the side. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna lightly brush on some cornstarch. And now I'm gonna add in my sugar mixture. And then you can just use your fingers to press in. I wanna make sure I'm pressing in really hard because I don't wanna leave any holes in my mold. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put this pan on top of the mold and then you're gonna flip it over. Fingers crossed. Just like this. Pull tight. Flip it over. I'm nervous. Ta-da! Now that we successfully got our skeletons down, we're going to let these dry for 24 hours and then we're going to decorate them. But in the meantime, I'm gonna show you how to make royal icing. So now that our skulls are drying out overnight, we're going to make the royal icing. I swear by this recipe. I've been using it for years for my sugar cookies. This recipe is from Semi-Sweet Mike. This recipe is gonna be way more than enough for what we need for today. But it's okay, you can store it in a tight container in your fridge for up to 2 weeks and you can use them for sugar cookies. So what you're gonna need for the royal icing is 1 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of corn syrup, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 5 tablespoons of meringue powder, and 1 to 2 bags of powdered sugar, depending on how thick you want your royal icing. We're going to put our water into our mixer and our meringue powder. Before I put anything else, I'm just gonna give it a little whisk. Now we're gonna add in our corn syrup and our vanilla extract. We're gonna give that a whisk. So some bakers say to sift your powdered sugar before adding it into your water mixture. That would avoid any clumps you might get in your royal icing. But since this is a new bag and I've done this several times, it's safe to just throw it in there. But if you want to be on the safe side, sift the powdered sugar. So I'm going to slowly add this in. I put like about 1/4 of the bag and I'm going to mix it at a really low speed. Great, now I'm gonna add some more. The reason I'm doing it in sections is because powdered sugar is a wild child. It will go everywhere. And now we'll finish it off. Now I'm gonna let it mix at low speed until everything's mixed together, and then I'm gonna crank it up to about 4 or 5. You don't wanna do it any higher than that because if you put in too much air, it's gonna dry and it's gonna crack, and we don't want that. So right now the consistency is really runny and we don't want that. And it's like an off-white. We want really white in color and we want it to be fluffy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have it mix again for about 4 to 5 minutes. We're gonna watch it and we're going to wait until it forms a peak. I'll show you when it's done. My icing's been mixing for about 8 minutes and it formed this peak. This is the stiff peak you want to look for. So I'm checking the consistency of my icing and it's pretty good, but it's a little too runny for my likings right now. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more powdered sugar. Yeah, that looks like it did it. Yeah, you see, that's much thicker. So this is the consistency I like. Now I'm gonna split these into 3 different bowls and we're gonna put 3 different food coloring in each. Then we're gonna put them into these little icing baggies with tips. If you don't have these, it's not a big deal. You can use Ziploc bags, put it off to one corner, twist it off, like so. It becomes a piping bag. You just cut off the tip. And now this is what we've all been waiting for. It's been 24 hours, our skulls are dry. We have our royal icing ready to go. And now all we have to do is decorate.